Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is episode 5 now of the weekly show, Scale Modelling Weekly. Now I must apologise, last week I said about getting a video up on Thursday, it didn't happen. That does happen at this time of year. It's to be expected really, with things going on, it can get very busy. It's ready to go and I'm going to make it part of this video. So we'll have the decaling, I'm calling it advanced. I don't like to use the term advanced if I'm honest, but advanced decaling, that's because I did a basic one. And I'll put it as part of this video and then I'll release it as a standalone later on. So that'll sort that one out. So we've got that coming up in the show. We've got a book review as well, which is actually, well, I say book review, it's more of a flip through. It's going to look at the Osprey line, just picking on the Spanish Civil War one, which I found very useful in the past. But there's a whole load of them. This is written by Zaloga, illustrated by Tony Bryan, so it's got the old classic. Well, we won't get into it, save something for later, won't it? So we got that, and I thought it might be good just to have a look at a modern kit. So it's not going to be a review as such, but I've got a Ryefield model kit over here, so we'll have a look through, because I feel like they're sort of getting closer to, well, not closer I suppose, but we're sort of going full circle, coming back like a sort of dragon kit, where you're getting a lot of different little bits all through the kit, where you can make, so you get quite different spares and it's parts from different versions, etc. So we'll have a look at that. That'll fill up most of this show. So there isn't actually been much going on this week, so there won't be anything on the bench. I don't think I've done anything other than, I'm just looking now, I have finished the decaling of the figures, the uniform for the Panzer IV. So that's happened. And there is one thing to point out, actually, very important, is that on Saturday, I won't be doing anything, but on Sunday, the 7th, I am going to Avon Model Show. So going with my club that I'm the chairman of, so South Somerset Model Club, SOSO, as we call ourselves. And we will be exhibiting. We'll have a table, so we'll be there. So if you're around, come and say hi, have a look at all the exhibits. It should be a good show, and you'll find me on that table and around the show if you want to say hello. So that should be quite interesting. I've got a few things that I'm looking at in the background that I want to get finished off this coming week. I've got a bit of time on Saturday as well, the day before, so get packed up, so don't need to really worry about anything. So I should be taking quite a bit up there. I mean the club will be taking quite a bit up there. There's lots of interesting models coming out of the club, which is always good to hear and see, which is very nice. And I'll have probably 3 or 4 of mine that you will have seen on the channel. So that should be pretty good. I went to Avon last year. It was a bit disrupted because of COVID, but still a good show. And I've never actually been to it in its prime. So looking forward to see what it's like, because it looks like it's pretty full. So that's an update for this week. So let's get straight into the decaling demonstration. So welcome back to the channel. I'm just going to follow up a rather old video, which was of basic decaling. And we're going to now go into it in a more detailed sense. So I've got some of the setting solutions here. So you've got Mr. Mark, Setter and Neo, which aren't the same as the ones you'll see people using in America and on the continent. The ones in the UK aren't quite the same strength. Got Solver set, and in between was the VMS decal set as well. Now the Solver set, if you can get hold of it, it's again American, it's very, very strong. But generally with all the decals I use, I start with micro set and micro sole. So a little bit of warm water, same old thing, get your decal nice and ready, and don't worry too much about the pronunciation of decal. And then with a bit of kitchen roll that I just have folded over, I then let it sit on there with hopefully a puddle of warm water over the top as well. I find that helps quite well to let it loosen a little bit from the backing paper. And then with some micro set, we just paint that on with a clean paintbrush. I must admit I use a single brush just for decaling. I don't use any other. And we've got some rivet detail here as well, so it's gonna make it tricky for us. So this is me putting on micro set, which is the blue bowl, which is phase 1 of the micro set sole combination. And the other one, the Gunzi micro, not micro, Neo set and Neo sole, I think it is, or something like that. That's the same. You start with the blue and then you go on to the green. It's not so much a two-part process, whereas this is. So I've got the micro set underneath there, and it's just enough to be able to move the decal around. So you get it into place. This is all the basic stuff, obviously. What we're going to try and do is hammer it on down into those decals and the recesses. So what this is doing is making sure we haven't got any air underneath and getting good adhesion from the decal onto the surface. And then from there, we try and then melt the actual decal into the surface details. So it's two things. We want to get it stuck on really nicely, and then when it is, we want to melt it in. And if you do that, you shouldn't have any issues with silvering. You should be able to do this over both a gloss coat or a gloss surface or a matte surface with the same result, by the way. I prefer having a shinier surface, although this isn't a gloss coat. This is just the shiny finish from MRP. But, you know, I have seen people get the same result over matte. You just need to sort of choose which works best for you and go from there. I do find the gloss to be a little bit more forgiving, but you know that you could argue either way on that. So once you've got it on nicely, that was a wet cotton bud, just rolled over to press the decal down again, and then just with a bunch of kitchen roll, just moistened, I'm just pressing it down now just to make sure we haven't got any air underneath, no air pockets or anything. Then it's time to start with the micro set sole. Now it's time to start with micro sole. That's the red bottle, and this is going to start melting the decal. So once that's dried, you obviously put it on, leave it for a few hours. Don't touch it because you are melting it. You'll start to see it come down. And that's what we've got here. Now, I'm going for a second application just to try and get things working, which it does. You know, it just takes time. It's best to put it all on and leave it. I also use gravity as well, which seems a strange thing to say, but what that means is don't put it on, you know, put the melting solution on the decal and then turn it upside down. It's best to leave it face up, so gravity will help suck it in, whereas if you do it the other way, say if it was on the underside, you want to turn the plane over as well, rather than put it back down with the top showing, if that makes sense. Now with a needle, I just use that edge to roll through the panel line, because I find that's much better than an actual knife blade, because instead a knife blade just cuts it and then you can almost get it flapping either side, whereas using a needle tends to blend it into both sides of the panel line. This is my riveter tool. You may have a different one, but this is the one I use, and that's how we then start to get the rivets to show through it. And by that we just trace one of the existing rivet lines that's already there. Using the tool, we line it up, make sure we're happy. I always look ahead of where I'm going at the end of the line, tends to get me there straighter. And as you can see, we've pushed through nicely. It's puckered up a little bit, but that's good. We've got some holes in there which should now meet the riveted holes. So once you've gone all over all of that, we apply another melting solution, so micro sole, here I'm actually using Solvaset now to really hammer it down in. And I put quite a good, nice application on. And once you do that, once you start using these stronger applications, put it on, put it down, face up, and leave it. And walk away, maybe overnight, and you'll be left with that. When you apply your matte coat for finishing, the carrier film will disappear, and that will look like it's painted on. So hopefully, that's of help. A little bit more advanced, but carrying on from what we did before, and it's a very effective result. So here we are taking a look at the Reiffield models Panzerkampfwagen IV Aus G. Comes with workable track links and 3D printed smoke bombs and hooks. This was $37.95 at Jadlam. I believe it is that on the website, however I bought this at the shop. Now, if you are into your Panzer IVs, I am well aware that there are issues with this kit on certain... I don't think all of them do, so we'll get into the kind of rivet county bit. So some of these are incorrect, and I must admit I hate this little bit of research, because you get it with 109s as well, and it sort of gets on my nerves a little bit, because German vehicles and aircraft were built at different factories. So for because of that, I think for the Panzer IVs it ended up being 3 factories, but I don't know a lot about it, so don't quote me on that. And through the production, each factory did different things, so there's little differences. Certainly happened with the Stugs, it happened with the Panzer IVs as well. You don't really get it with anything like Tigers, King Tigers, anything like that in the larger production. I don't even think you really... Oh, you get it a little bit late on with the Panthers as well, I believe. Few differences, like different mantlets from different factories. So, you obviously need to know your way around these vehicles if you're going to do something 100% accurate. Now, it should only really matter if you're, say, putting it into a competition or showing it to someone who's, you know, if you went to a special interest group or something, or a research group on the Panzerkampfwagen 4, well then, you know, don't be surprised if you get called out for having different bits. But the information is out there if you want to look for it. I'll probably have a glance at it and try and sort of understand which is which, so I don't get problems. But I did see certainly one of these, because a couple of these were used at Kursk. Really good photos, and you can see that it's actually got different parts than what's actually in this kit. It's not only then that what they tell you to put on, it's actually not in the kit. So just something to bear in mind. As always, if you want to do 100% accurate model, do not expect it to be in the box straight out following the instructions. That's not really what models are about generally. If you're talking from super accuracy, that's never really been the case. If you want to get to complete accuracy, then you need to find your reference photo, you need to look at every single bit in that photo, and you need to then work through to see what's what. You'll find some tanks have different tracks than they give you in the kit, etc, etc, etc. So if you don't worry about that, well then just build it and have fun. But some people find the other side of things fun as well. I'm somewhere in between. I try not to let it dominate me, but if I can get accuracy and still enjoy it, then I go that way. So here we go. Now, like I said, this isn't going to be a review, but I just wanted to sort of show you a bit of the detail, close-ups. Hopefully if we can work with the glare here. So there you see the moulded on detail there, absolutely fantastic. And that's what we're looking at. I got a feeling TACOM have something to do with the tooling for RFM models. So there you go, nice and clean. Seam lines don't seem to be too bad. So this is sort of Dragon-esque. So you see all the recessed screw heads there. Fantastically done. Complete with the groove in the middle. And then you've got some of the armour there that goes around the turret armour, already moulded. Easy to sort out. Now there's also an interior part of this kit as well, so you get some bits you've got interior. I mean, all of this is really just the cupola and the internals of the cupola, periscopes and all that sort of thing. So obviously there's a lot of detail, and like I said, it's sort of Dragon-esque. We've got slide moulding. So if you look here, this is a MG34, and we've got a hollowed out barrel, and all of those parts there are slide moulded. You can always tell because they tend to be in line with where the raised, so you see this raised sprue, that means there's something happening that's slide moulding. You can see through there. And again, Tamiya, take note, drilled out tow cable ends, and in the goodie bag, oh, I might have egg on my face. No, in the goodie bag we don't have metal cable, we have string. Never mind. So going on here, bolt head detail on the hubs there. Fantastic. And again, you know, for £34 in the UK, you have to do your own conversions. Nice gun breech there. All of that. It's, you know, it's pretty good value, isn't it? So we've got more recessed detail and weld beads all through there. Look at that. Cracking stuff. We've got a little bit of an interior here, like I said, because we're utilising parts on the sprue, so they've given you the rest of it. I've got an RFM Panzer IV as well. That really looks like almost completely, and I know it's hard, I'm sorry, but seeing it. That looks more or less completely interior. Then we've got the wheels, so hopefully we've got detail on the tyres, yes. We've got Continent No, we haven't. We've got Semper Pit? No idea what that is. Thought it was Continental. Anyway, there you go. I think we've got workable suspension, all made up from plastic. You've got the late style return idlers. Return rollers, sorry. And then different types there as well for later. All good stuff. Like I said, lots of spares. Going through here, we've got the spare tracks. Go on the front mounted. I don't think you actually use these because they're a different type of track. And looks like the gun barrel, there's the muzzle brakes, all slide molded. You've got 3 different muzzle brakes, a single piece gun barrel. Good stuff. I can't see any tools yet. I might have missed the tools to look for tool clamps. That's another thing I like to look out for. Fantastic lower hole detail there as well, and side hole detail. So there we are, pretty good stuff all through, as you can see, I'm sure. And then the interesting bit is what's starting to happen now is the idea is these kits are coming out as being affordable, plus they've got everything in there that you need. So although they might be a handful, you have got tracks that are individual link, and they're workable with these pins. So you can, you don't need to buy aftermarket tracks, you just got to put a little bit of work in to make them work. Obviously got poly caps, that's nothing new. We've got clear parts, not new, but it's nice to have it. Very new is 3D printed parts. So these are smoke launchers or grenade launchers, one or the other. Anti-personnel mines it might be as well, can't remember. But as you can see, really nicely done. And also we've got the sort of lifting hooks. I don't think they are lifting hooks. I don't know what they're for, but they're always, you always see them on the side of a turret. Really nice bolt head detail there as well. Obviously got some string for the rope, not ideal. Photo etch side skirts. And nice set of decals. So there we go, and we must have moulded on tool clamps. Yes, we do. Yeah, I've missed it. Can I find that? That one. No. Seemingly we don't have moulded on tool clamps. That there should be a tool clamp, I believe. We don't seem to have any. Yeah, there. So they don't have the handles. Okay. And I don't think they're on the photo etch fret. Yeah, they might. No. Okay, so that's something else as well. That's where you're getting your 3D printed ones as aftermarket come in. Now you can see the parts breakdown. There'll be quite a lot that you don't use. Conventional stuff as you go through. So you start off with getting a, well, this isn't actually conventional, making up a whole tub here that you do. So it's separate sides and base, and you go on through. Like I said, you'll see areas that kind of make you think that there should be an interior, because there is a separate kit for that. Workable suspension, individual link tracks. Going on through, the photo etch comes in. Nicely laid out instructions, CAD drawings, side skirts going on, gun breech, turret, very detailed cupola, and there we are. It gives us a Panzer IV. Now I do realise that this being a G is pretty much the Panzer IV I've just finished with a long barrel, but there you are. We won't worry about that. This has got side skirts and everything. So you've got a couple of Kursk. No, this is June 1944 on the Eastern Front. This is summer of 1943 on the Kursk sector. Then this is another Kursk machine. I think this is the famous one. that might be a different manufacturer. And then we've got one on the Italian front. So what I always like is when companies supply this, because you guys that don't want to go through camo or don't feel like you can do it or feel a bit daunted by it, you can still build the model. You can do a Dunkelgelb one, you can still do all your weathering, get straight to it. If you haven't got an airbrush, you can spray it with a spray can. So it's always a good thing to add a plain single colour option, I think. So there we go. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Ryefield models tend to, all their kits, recent kits are like this now. And I think it's a really impressive package if you can get it at the right price. So I don't know how it fits, but I've seen quite a few being built up online and they seem to go together without issues. So I'm not expecting too many problems. It looks very much like a tack-on kit to me. So very impressed. And lastly, I thought we'd just have a quick look through this. So these are still available direct from the Osprey website, and you can obviously pick them up from other book retailers. So what they usually, some are better than others. Some are like picture books, some are just don't have anything in them. But you often get very good coloured drawings like this, which are always quite useful. And just flicking through it, you'll see that it's mixed in there is some detailed reference pictures of the real vehicle. You get this classic as well, like the breakdown of what's what, which is nice. There's the old Lancia, look, the unusual one, the one I didn't do with the turret on the top. Nice drawings like that, see? And the writing is always very good. It varies, I've got to admit, but it is usually pretty good. That's a diorama I want to do one day. Get this cliff. I've got a Sierva. Sierva? I can't remember if it is. Is it Sierva? I've got to look now. No, it's a CV35. Caro Veloci. Veloci. Who knows? Anyway, it's that. Running up against a short track going up a cliff. I just thought it would be pretty cool because it's a small little tank. It's pretty good. One of the famous Italian tanks, actually, that is. Still being used against the Brits in the desert. I mean, what were they thinking? So basic stuff. You basically got BT5s, T26s on the Republican side going up against Panzer Is. That's really what's happening. You got the interesting things like the Spanish-built Trubia and other funny little things. Nice detail there as well of the BT5 running on its road wheels, which it could do. The BT series tanks, you could take the tracks off and it would it's powered. I think the back wheel, the idler, is where the power is. I think you put a chain around this and that, and then it would drive the back wheel, which would drive the road wheels, and you'd be able to run it on hard ground. This never happened, by the way. There wasn't a Republican purple turret. It was, if you ever see that and you think it's Republican, it's just that. Apparently, that's been cleared up. There you go. See, so that is not a Republican band. That's just red, yellow, red, Spanish flag colour. You got some of the mad old Spanish-built huge armoured cars that they made, random things. Bit of tank transporter, and this is I think this is from Steven Zaloga's collection. It is author's collection because he rolls this out in a number of places. I've seen this picture a lot of times. So this is a Blindado BC, which has been built in Spain, used during the Spanish Civil War, driven over the border by the Republicans into France, impounded by France, captured by the Germans in 1940, and then sent to the east in German colours to fight the Russians and being captured in Russia. I mean, there you go. Only the Germans would do that, eh? So there you go. That should give you a good idea. What I also like as well is you get these little sort of write-ups. This, like I said, this is a particularly good one because it's Steven Zaloga, who's particularly good, but it depends who you're getting and what you're getting and how much has gone into it as to what you get out of it. So it's always worth having a little flick through if you can, but here there's a lot of good history and I quite like it. You even get the First World War tanks that made an appearance at the start, FT-17s and the Schneider CA1. Really unbelievable stuff, to be honest. And there's the Schneider as it was. That's another Spanish-built tank, funny old thing as well. What's that? There's another Trubia A4. I've got a resin model of that. Might have a look one day. Oh no, I've done a review on the channel, so you can go back and have a look yourselves. And you get sort of nice breakdowns like this, showing you the date of arrival. Is the date of the arrival and which ship, how many, and what it was. So that shows you how they all came in. So cracking stuff. Now there's a whole range of Osprey books. It's not just vehicles, it's all sorts of things. So if you like what you see there, then have a look at the website and see if you can find something for yourself. And that brings us to an end this week. So apologies that it's not been a huge update, but there's a lot going on outside of modelling for me. It's still a hobby. A lot of demand from work because it's hot, so I've got to keep watering because I grow plants. Trying to enjoy the summer as well, so these things happen. I'll keep you updated with the weekly videos. We'll keep them going. I'm hoping that there'll be quite a bit to show next week because I'm going to be getting some stuff ready for Avon, as I said. Then we'll go to Avon so I can give an after-show report at least from there. Might get some purchases, don't know. Not really in the market for anything, but then we never are we? So we'll see how we go on that. Hopefully that'll give a boost to the enthusiasm. The weather might break and we might finally get some rain as well, and we can start on some other projects that I've got coming down the line that are going to be very interesting for you. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be next week. So I'll see you then.